We just would bring Jessica Bethel back to the stand, Judge.
Ms. Bethel, if you would resume your seat in the witness stand, I remind you, ma'am, that you're still under oath.
Good morning, Ms. Bethel. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you.
Good. You told us on Wednesday when you were here how many homicide investigations you were involved with. Can you remind us again how many that is?
Over 100.
Is it fairly common in your experience that when people are at the sheriff's office on a murder investigation and detained that they can get very nervous?
Yes.
Is that what was apparent with the defendant there at the end of that video?
Yes.
Overruled, I think she can offer an opinion regarding her experience based on the responses of other people that she's been in contact with.
So go ahead and answer that.
Yes.
Early in the, I guess I shouldn't say early in the interview, but at some point in the interview, it appeared that the defendant was trying to leave the interview room, and then a separate person comes in and has her phone. Do you remember that portion?
Yes.
Who was that other person, first of all?
That was Lieutenant Mitchell Mahalko.
Is he with the sheriff's office also?
Yes, he is.
Was it very apparent by her actions at that particular time that she wanted to leave and wanted to take her phone with her?
Yes.
When she showed up at the sheriff's office, do you know how she got there that day?
She drove herself in her Tiguan.
And is that when we had testimony from another detective? Is that when it was observed that it appears to have just been recently washed prior to driving down to the sheriff's office?
Yes, that's correct.
We see the medical folks come in, the ambulance folks. Where did they take the defendant after leaving the video there?
They took her to Memorial Hospital on Boulder.
Is this, and we've already had testimony from forensic nurse examiner Amanda Van Nest, is that interaction with the FNE, the nurse, does that occur as soon as she gets to the hospital when she leaves the sheriff's office here?
That interaction did not occur immediately when she got to the hospital, no.
I mean, the same day.
Yes.
That's what I mean. I shouldn't have said the word immediately. But she goes from the sheriff's office by ambulance directly to the hospital, and then at the hospital is where she interacts.
Object to leading. Sustained. Rephrase.
Sure. Does she leave directly from the sheriff's office in an ambulance?
Yes, she did.
Did the ambulance drive her directly to Memorial Hospital?
Yes.
At Memorial Hospital, is that when she had contact, she being the defendant, had contact with forensic nurse examiner Amanda Van Nest?
Yes, that's correct.
At that hospital, after being there for some period of time, did the defendant walk away from the hospital before completing a SANE exam?
Yes, she did.
So did this purported anxiety attack achieve her goal of wanting to leave the sheriff's office?
Ultimately, yes.
Would committing a murder and being detained in the sheriff's office cause somebody to have nervousness and potentially have a panic attack?
Object to relevance. Sustained.
So I want to jump ahead in time. After the defendant left the hospital on January 29th, were you aware of where she was?
Throughout the investigation, I was aware at certain times, yes.
Okay. Were you aware of when she actually moved things out of her house on 6627 Mandan Drive?
Yes.
What day was that?
The 31st of January.
So 2 days after your interaction with her at the sheriff's office?
Yes.
In between those two events, did you have any other personal contact with her face to face?
I did not.
Did you attempt to have any personal contact with her face to face?
I did not.
Once that occurred at the house on January 31st where she moved things out. Are you aware that she had a TV interview with Spencer Wilson from KKTV?
Yes, I observed that.
In that interview, we've had testimony from Spencer Wilson earlier. She complained that in her interaction at the sheriff's office, she was not allowed to eat or drink or take bathroom breaks. Was she allowed to do those things at the sheriff's office?
Yes, she was offered those things.
In that interview that we just watched later in the day on Wednesday and then this morning, at some point the defendant made a reference to you about, well, you've been in my house, you know what it's like there. When did you actually ever go to the house?
I went to the house, I believe it was in February.
February 21st, sound right?
That does sound correct.
Is it typical that the lead detective potentially wouldn't have to go to scene like that, at least early on?
Yes, they would go typically early on.
What about the idea that at the beginning it's reported as a runway and you don't know necessarily that where a scene might be that you need to look at? Does that play into the fact that you don't go as early?
Yes.
This is leading.
No, it does not suggest the answer. Overruled.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Do you remember getting text messages from the defendant into February of 2020?
I know there were several times that she sent me text messages. I can't recall all of the dates specifically.
Sure. But were you getting text messages from her after she left the house on January 31st?
Yes.
Did you become aware of the defendant attempting to get her passport and bag back from evidence?
Yes.
Do you remember when that occurred?
I believe that was also on the 31st.
Okay. Did you get a text message specifically about those things, needing to get her passport and bag back?
I do recall asking about a passport.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't recall the date, no.
If I showed you your report, would that refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach the witness with her report, which is pagination 010980.
You may go ahead.
Take a look at this report and when you're done. Do you remember that text message?
Yes, I do.
What was, first of all, let me ask you this. Was there anything odd about that text message? Was it coming from, strike that. Was it coming from a phone number that you recognized?
No, it was not.
Did you, based on context, were you able to determine who it was coming from?
Yes.
What was that context that gave you that information?
The person texting said that they did not do anything to Gannon and that there was no negligence on their part.
Okay. And so that led you to believe that it was coming from who?
Leticia.
I'm going to retrieve that report from you. At some point, was a decision made to travel to South Carolina?
Yes.
When was that made?
Early March.
Why was that decision made?
Leticia had fled to South Carolina, and by that time I had obtained probable cause and authored an arrest warrant for her, which was signed off by a judge at the El Paso County Courthouse. And so we went to Myrtle Beach to arrest her.
When you say we, can you tell us who all was involved in that process?
It was members from the local FBI, Detective Mark Riley and myself, and also local law enforcement and members of the FBI in Myrtle Beach.
Was that arrest actually affected in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
Yes.
Was the defendant interviewed in South Carolina?
Yes, she was.
Do you remember by who?
Gruesome.
Who is John Grusing and who is he with?
He is with the FBI.
Okay. And we're going to hear from him at a later time, so I'm not going to get into her interview with you. Was there some discussion had as to how the defendant would get from South Carolina back to Colorado?
Yes.
What was the ultimate decision made as to that transportation?
That she would be driven back to Colorado in a rental van.
Who was involved in driving her back?
Myself and Detective Riley, and later on, Deputy Michaela James.
So did you actually stop somewhere in the middle of that drive from South Carolina to Colorado to pick up the other deputy that you just mentioned?
Yes, we did.
How long did that drive last?
More than 24 hours.
Were you with the defendant the entire time?
Yes.
What was her demeanor like during that transportation?
She was calm. She ate. She sang songs. She played trivia.
Was she able to have conversations?
Yes.
Conversations that were not related to the investigation?
Yes.
Were they appropriate conversations, meaning if she's saying things, did they make sense?
Yes.
Was she able to eat and drink?
Yes.
Was she able to use the restroom?
Yes, she was.
And you mentioned trivia and singing songs. Was that something that all of you were sort of doing in the vehicle?
Yes, just to pass the time.
And was she participating in that in an appropriate way, meaning nothing seemed out of the ordinary?
That's correct, yes.
The entirety of that transport from South Carolina to Colorado, was that audio and video recorded?
Yes.
Thankfully, we're not going to play all of those hours of video, okay?
Correct.
But why was that audio and video recorded?
I was concerned with her previous behavior that she may do something. And so I wanted to have documentation of the transport.
Okay.
The beeps you all are hearing.
So I want to bring up to you People's Exhibit 338.
The beeps you all are hearing.
Please take a look at that.
Zoom.
And let me know if you recognize it.
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it, first off?
My initials and date are on it, and it is a GoPro video of the extradition.
Can you say that it's a what video?
GoPro?
Oh,
Is it only a portion of that hours-long transportation from South Carolina to Colorado?
Yes, just a very small portion.
Have you had a chance to review that thumb drive containing that GoPro video?
Yes, I have.
Is it fair and accurate representation as to the contents and that portion of the transportation?
It is.
And does that thumb drive actually contain two different clips, so two different files on the thumb drive?
It does, yes.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of that transportation portion?
Yes.
At this time, I'd move for admission of People's 338.
Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, Mr. Allen and I, very quickly.
All right.
The beeps that y'all are hearing is people joining Zoom to watch the trial. That right there. That is people joining Zoom to watch and listen to the trial.
Exhibit 338 will be admitted. Go ahead.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
You may go ahead.
Well, actually, before I get into publishing that, so what are we about to see in People's Exhibit 338, just to give some context?
The first clip is a view of Leticia along with Deputy James in the back seat of the van. They're sitting in captain's seats. And during that portion of the video, you can see Leticia moving around slightly, and that's because her hands are handcuffed to a belly band around her waist, and she is manipulating her hands out of the handcuffs, and she obtains a Monster Energy can, and she strikes Deputy James in the face with that full unopened can of Monster Energy drink, and then struggles with Deputy James. I myself have noted several pre-contact cues where she is glancing at Deputy James' waist area where her gun was kept. And then ultimately, whenever I come back to assist Deputy James once the vehicle is stopped, she also glances at my waist where my gun is kept. I took that to be a threat that she was attempting to obtain one of our weapons.
So let's have some context. Where did this occur in that travel from South Carolina to Colorado?
This is in Kansas on Interstate 70.
What approximate speed were you all traveling when this occurred?
About 75 miles an hour.
What was the reaction to this action by the defendant to who was driving?
Deputy Riley was.
What was his reaction to that happening in the backseat of the van?
We immediately start giving commands to Leticia to stop. And as we're doing that, Deputy Riley pulled over to the shoulder of the interstate. Thankfully, there was an area clear for us to pull over, and he slammed on the brakes, which put her into the back seat of my seat.
Was that a highly dangerous situation that was unfolding?
Absolutely, yes.
What made it highly dangerous?
Ms. Stauchs was already suspected of murder, and she assaulted a deputy who was armed and attempted to obtain her firearm.
What about the fact that you're on the highway and that action or reaction by Detective Riley had to occur? Did that also enhance the dangerousness of it?
Yes, he wasn't able to exit the vehicle to immediately help us because of traffic that was traveling so quickly next to us.
All right, let's go ahead and play that.
And I believe it's 21 minutes. Would you like me to stay up for this?
Is it
I'm
20?
fine with, yeah, it's roughly that.
Okay, you can go ahead and step down.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yes, it's difficult to see because how small the TV is.
she keeps threatening me.
Stop it, Leticia.
She keeps on threatening me. I have stopped it. She keeps on.
You got out of the streets.
She keeps on. Threatening me. I will for you. She keeps
Put your arm down.
Put your arm down. But she keeps threatening me the whole time.
Tisha, give me your arm.
I will to you.
Tisha, give me your
I will
arm.
to you, but not to
Cooperate
her.
with me.
Now.
Cooperate with me.
I will with you, but not with her.
Cooperate with me.
I will with you, not with her.
Tisha?
I will with you. I said I would with you. Give me your arm now. I said I would with you. I said I would with you. I said I would with you. Just-
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting. I said I would with her. I'm not touching you.
Go ahead. I got her on.
I have the song.
Tisha, stop
I'm not
resisting. Yes, you are. Stop it. Put her behind her back.
Yep.
Tisha, stop it.
I'm not even doing anything.
You just got another charge.
Well, she shouldn't be doing me like this.
Stand up. Stop trying to turn.
I'm not trying to turn.
She can stay that way the rest of the trip.
These are what we want to do. We want to the nearest detention facility. No. We're providing us with.
Oh, could you please untighten it from my hands?
Not right now, Tisha.
Yes, it's all my arms.
Lean forward. Lean forward so I can adjust it. Stop manipulating the thumb.
Eating you.
Second clip. Go.
All I can say is wow.
You good? You make a call yet?
No, I don't know where we're at.
Okay, hang on. Lock the doors. I got her sweat.
Can you turn the air on?
Is it really Tisha?
Well, I asked for help for the air, and she's been nothing but mean to me the whole day. I can't breathe.
Stop.
I can't breathe. Just open it so I can breathe. That's all I'm asking for is to breathe. I'm just asking to breathe. That's it. Is to breathe. That's all I want to do is breathe.
2600 Avenue. Right by Pretty Horses. On 70.
I'm not resisting her. You're hurting my arm.
My phone is jacking up cold.
You're hurting my arm. You're hurting my arm.
Lisa,
I just
stop.
want my arm. It's hurting my arm. Just let my arm go. It's hurting my arm.
The more you press against me, the harder I'm going to press on the...
I understand. It's not the pressure point. It's my arm. It's bent backwards and it's hurting. Can you just take
Yes,
her
ma'am.
off
This
my
is
arm?
Detective Bethel with the El Paso County Sheriff's
Please,
Office.
off my arm.
Need a marked unit
I am.
to the 2600 block of
It's pulling my,
Interstate 70.
pulling my wrist, please.
I have Leticia Stauchs in custody. She's just attempted to escape and she's trying to resist it.
I didn't try to
Hold
escape.
You did try.
No, I didn't open the door to breathe.
Yes, ma'am. I'm on I-70 westbound in the 2600 block.
Calm, we were not doing anything, correct?
Can you please, but as with my wrist.
Let me speak first, okay?
Okay.
As soon as you try to open that
Do
door,
you remember the last mile marker we hit?
Door so I could breathe. It's hot. I asked you to help me, but you just lean over and don't help. I said, hey, could you please find out how to turn the air on? Hey, the whole time you've been nothing but rude to me.
Leticia.
I'm just putting my arm down because it's hurting. I didn't try to escape or anything. I legit opened the door to breathe.
Detective Jessica Bethel with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. In extradition and Leticia Stauchs.
Ow, my arm is hurting.
I am in a gray Chrysler minivan bearing Michigan plates. We have the hazards on and we're on the shoulder of the road.
Tell them to pick it up.
And we need a code 3 response, please.
You said you would help my arm. I appreciate it.
Nope. She's assaulted.
Ow, it's hurting.
Boy Edward Tom Henry Edward Finnegan.
Hurting my arm. It's hurting.
8/4 of 83 is her birthday.
I did not try to escape.
No, ma'am, I have 2 other
Tell us
deputies
the
with me.
story.
SRT.
Could not breathe. I asked you to open the door.
Yep. We've got her under
Yes, ma'am.
control right now. We've got Kansas coming out here now. Well, we're gonna get some
Yes,
other equipment to at least secure her, or
No,
at
ma'am.
least have them, somebody take us or escort us to the border, and then have one of our people come to the border.
Hurting my arm,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, everybody's fine. You're good. You hit her with a fist. She got out of her cuffs.
She slipped her cuffs and
She
hit
slipped them.
a deputy and tried to escape.
I did not try to escape.
So that's what our plan is. So if you can, I don't know how far we are from,
Nope, we're all
as
okay.
soon as we get an escort to the.
We just need a secure unit to transport further.
Yep. We're gonna have, is that for state patrol? We'll have them escort us to the Colorado
Do
border.
you have a state patrol?
Well, my arm is hurting.
Or who's dispatching out, ma'am?
Where you maybe that's where are you trying to go, okay?
Okay.
No, I just want to get off my arm. It's hurting.
Okay.
I understand, so if I feel like you're trying to pull against me, one of those two, you're trying to make.
If I could get a state patrol officer en route as well to help me escort to the Colorado border.
Lift my head off, you look like we're good, it's your time, I understand, we'll see what we can do.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna put my partner, Detective Riley, on the phone with you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
We're at 284.
Okay.
Please. Let's see.
Yes, ma'am.
You okay?
Can you please lift up my wrist?
No. Not up for that.
After what?
Once you're
Yes, ma'am. We're doing an expedition.
I didn't try to
Leticia
escape.
Stauchs.
I opened the door to breathe.
Back
You
to
know that.
Colorado. She
Yes, I
slipped her
did.
cuffs and
You know-
assaulted a deputy. We have her under control right now. But we would appreciate it.
I just feel like it's breaking my wrist.
And then we'll have our state patrol units That's possible.
Relax.
I
Or
can't.
the pressure will get worse.
If it gets worse, then guess what? I have to go to a hospital because she hurts me.
What's your number, Jess?
On that, 650-719. Should just be able to look it up.
That's correct. We're at the 284.
284 westbound.
My wrist is hurting. My wrist is hurting.
Relax.
I can't. My wrist is breaking.
Your wrist is not.
It is
breaking.
hurting.
The more you wiggle, the more it's going to hurt.
Thank you.
Relax.
I'm trying, but it's hurting. Like things are hurting my
Stop
wrist.
moving.
No, that's fine. We'll wait here for officers.
You're pushing down on
Thank
me.
you, ma'am.
We've got some
Bye-bye.
right now.
They're coming right now.
Got 6 en route.
Stop trying to.
I'm not trying to resist.
Then stop turning.
To you, you're holding me for nothing.
Okay, stop trying to turn against
I'm
my
not going to turn against you. You're holding me.
Go ahead and bump over. We're gonna make sure she's not gonna get out of her restraints this time. I'm gonna see if they have a belly belt, a real one.
I'm hurting my wrist.
This isn't gonna happen again.
Hurting my wrist. I'm not doing anything. She's doing that. I'm not doing anything.
Stop turning against.
I'm not turning against you. You're doing that to me on purpose.
Good? We're good. We've got her in the.
See? Look what she's doing on purpose. Look.
Stop turning.
I'm not turning.
Stop moving.
I'm not moving.
Relax your body.
My body's relaxed.
She's been bad, so.
Stop.
I'm not doing anything to you. You're trying to choke me down.
Turn your head.
Okay, you want to bring her out? She's out of her cuffs right now. No, we got her back in. Got her back in. Okay. But
The
they're
vehicle.
slapped on. I mean, they're not good. We'll bring her out. We'll double lock them.
Pull them out.
Bring her out. Just
Step out, Keisha.
Oh, she choked me down. It hurts.
Yeah, she can go. Read to her. You're not gonna get too far. You don't get a dog. You understand?
I'm not doing anything. I didn't try to.
You better run faster than.
Well, I didn't try to run away. I opened the door so I could breathe.
Yeah. Do you guys have a where are you going? Colorado? Oh Lord, you got a west. Yeah. Do we have a what? Do you have a better belly belt than this? It can secure better. I don't have it, friend. I don't. Hell, let's do this. Let's go out here in the ditch. Let's get her down on her knees. That's whatever you need to do. Why? No. They had 3 of them transport one person. Yes, they did. And they were all, he was outside too, living inside the firm, they got everything else.
If we could just have Ms. Bethel come back to the stand, or do you want to take a break?
I was gonna request you take a break now.
That's
Is this a good break in